Once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this early morning. It is Friday, 4th of October, 2024, and we wanted to share a short story about how we started and maybe why we started. So this wellness forums, as you're joining, please help us to mute yourself. Please mute yourself so that we are able to go together. Thank you very much. All right, so these wellness forums were actually backed along the corridors of the main theater, Kenyatta National Hospital, with two consultants. One was operating in Theater 3 and the other in Theater 2. And I was one of the residents that was assisting at that time. And a discussion was birthed, and it was actually very interesting that the patron is actually the one who started that conversation. I don't know whether she could remember. And then she went on to help us create a survey link just to assess the status of mental health and overall well-being of the residents at the department. And after the results came out, it was astonishing to see that most obstetrician gynecologist residents at that time were actually, they scored below 5. It was very low score for the well-being. And so these wellness forums then were started to be able to hopefully, discharge or, put out residents who are now a whole well-rounded, not just in academia, in obs and gyn, but also having emotional intelligence, self-awareness, personal branding, financial finesse, and so on and so forth. That is how we actually got back. All right. So that was our very first event. We had thought of making these forums physical because we also wanted, we had just come out of the COVID era, 2 years of virtual platforms, social distancing. But in 2022, April, we thought people can now meet. We will be able to have our masks on, and COVID was, we were just coming out of the COVID era, and that was our very first speaker. Coach Robert Burale. I know most of us know him. He was very kind. He came to the department classroom, and we were able to have an amazing time. He spoke on self-awareness. Next month, we hosted Dr. Ayub Ntenga in May 2022, and the topic was on emotional intelligence. In August 2022, then we realized that if we wanted to get more people to attend, then we moved to the virtual platform and hosted Coach CJ Atemo. He spoke on the topic, the elusive equilibrium, and how really do we get to attain work-life balance, if not integration. In September, residents had actually said that they were struggling with their research, writing the research dissertation. And so we were able to get the very good professor from Department of Human Anatomy, Professor Moses Obimbo Madadi, who is also an obstetrician gynecologist, and was able to take us through crossroads in research writing. And I think from this session, we had a handful of residents in the department that were able to actually get back on their horses, get back on the bandwagon and write their proposals or finish their dissertation and move on to the next step of their academic journey. In October, we spiced things a little up and we talked about love, and that was on dating and relationships by the one and only Dr. Chris Hart, who is a long-time relationship expert. In November, we brought in Coach Tabitha Njeri, and she was able to take us through the pathway to career breakthrough. This was also a very well-attended forum as well. In December, we finished with one of our own, an obstetrician gynecologist in this Republic of Kenya, goes by the name Daktari Wamta, because she is relatable in that way, speaking in a language called Sheng, for them who may be joining us from outside of Kenya. and she was able to talk to us on wholesome living, and that is how we closed up 2022. We moved on to 2023, and in January 2023, we hosted Coach Caroline Gaidhuma, who spoke on goals and resolutions for the year, how to set goals, and actually how to keep tabs on the goals and resolutions that you have set to make sure that you're able to put them to task and achieve your goals for the year. In March, we were with Mr. Martin Cheng of Sasini Group, and he talked on a very captivating talk on transformational leadership. April, we had the very lovely, bubbly Dr. Patricia Murugami spoke on becoming your next best self. In May, we had Madam Rosie Rana, and she taught us on the art of public speaking. And that day, we were also celebrating our first year anniversary since we started these wellness forums. In June 2023, we hosted Dr. Linda Nyamute, consultant psychiatrist, and she spoke on the topic stress and depression among healthcare workers. In August, we had the AMREF CEO, Dr. Givinji Gitahi, and he spoke on health systems management. We moved on to this new year, and in 2024, the person who opened the curtains for us was none other than the most loved professor of ENT, Professor Isaac Masharia. That was in April 2024, and we dealt on the topic entrepreneurship in medicine, franchising, and financial finesse in the area or in the space of medicine. Then we brought back the very lovely coach, Tabitha Njeri, in May 2024, and we spoke about Dr. Burnout, which is actually the hidden threat to our medical careers. And it was amazing to see just how many doctors during that call were actually burnt out. I remember very well in this forum, we recorded almost 200 participants' virtual attendance, and that was quite something. Then later on in June this year, we hosted the KTN Standard Group, Dr. and journalist, Dr. Mercy Corrier, and she spoke to us on how to marry and integrate medicine and journalism and how doctors can use media to their advantage to tell their stories and to use it as a platform for advocacy. In August 2024, we brought back again Coach Tabitha Njeri. I mean, by now you can really tell that she is a favorite of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. And she came back to do another round of physician Dr. Burnout, but now this time round, talking more on the practical solutions of burnout. And that was also a really amazing, amazing session. Last month, we had the contemporary godfather of gospel music, award winner, Stella Awards. We had the co-founder of Kisima Awards Kenya, Dr. Pete Odera, and he spoke to us on how to navigate, and he used principles from seafarers. Then today, we have the very lovely coach, Sarah Richson, who will take us through a powerful career trajectory, building and positioning ourselves for a powerful career trajectory. We also have Mr. Klaus Wilken coming up next month, and we will finish the year with handling grief and loss. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to just virtually introduce to you the Wellness Forum team. So we have been under the chair of Department Obs and Gynae, University of Nairobi, Professor Eunice Cheserem. We have our patron and senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi, Diana Ondieki. I, the one who is speaking to you right now, I am now the outgoing lead of the Residents Wellness Forums. And I will be welcoming my successor, Dr. Loreen Kigamwa, who is taking over from me. Then we also have other members like Dr. Helen Gishobi and Dr. Charles Musungu. I would take a few minutes right now to ask all of us to actually check out our YouTube channel. All of the forums that you have seen me project have been uploaded on our University of Nairobi Obsgyn Department Wellness Forum. Please go subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share the link, and be able to recap on all the sessions that we've been able to do thus far. So that, all right, okay. So that is our patron. If you have never been to these forums, she's a very lovely Dr. Diana Undeki, a senior lecturer, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, a fertility specialist and laparoscopic surgeon. She's also the assistant editor in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology of Eastern and Central Africa. We call it JOGECA. So that's our patron. Then that is me. I am a resident here at the University of Nairobi. I am also the Physician Wellbeing and Wellness Committee convener under the Kenya Medical Association. And I am the now team lead in Kenya Obstetrical and Gynecological Society, our member society for all obstetricians and gynecologists in the Republic of Kenya. This is my successor. She's the new lead, the new face of the team. She's a resident at the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, also a fertility treatment enthusiast, and a champion for cervical cancer screening and prevention. And so with that, I would want to now go on to introduce our October speaker, who is none other than Sarah Richson. So the coach Sarah Richson is a double global award winner, strategist, speaker, master trainer, executive coach. She represents the epitome of strength and resilience. She's had a rapid rise to leadership despite facing multiple barriers, has excelled as a global director at a very young age. She is an influential thought leader and global award winner who has become an inspiration to many. Today, she is a certified executive coach who speaks and trains globally using an authentic, natural storytelling style to captivate her audience while transforming hearts and minds. She has been awarded and recognized with the Exceptional Woman. She was the Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award 2018, the Woman Empowerment Principal Champion in 2019, and she was the top 100 global coaching leaders in 2020. Sarah Richson is a distinguished thought leader and influencer with vast mastery of the 21st century workplace trends and analytics, which has seen her travel the world as a renowned global speaker. She is a certified executive coach and governance expert whose exceptional standards and consistent results make her a much sought after professional in her field. She is currently a doctoral candidate who also holds a degree in international business and management, as well as an MBA from the United Kingdom, making her a distinguished strategist and international consultant. Her impressive footprint and knowledge is grounded on practical wisdom, having undertaken diverse assignments, including building the capacity for thousands of professionals, as well as working on complex projects across the globe. At the peak of her career, she held senior strategic roles, which include being a global director, overseeing over 20 plus geographical regions across the UK, United States, Asia, and the continent of Africa. She is a valued-driven leader who has supported charities to raise school fees, mentor mothers back into school and work, and her life is underpinned by the 4 personal values, which are a constant theme in her life and work relations. Sarah is intrigued with fashion, travel, and actually chocolate. She's happily married and says her proudest achievement is being a mother. Ladies and gentlemen, this day, 4th October 2024, let's make welcome Coach Sarah Richson. The floor is yours, Coach. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lindsay. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can see you, Coach.
Okay, fantastic. So let me try and share my slides, and I hope this time they're okay. Okay.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you so much. It's 5 a.m. where I am, but yes, let me get on with this. Thank you so much for such a fantastic, fantastic introduction. I was listening to it and thinking, oh, wow. And I'll talk about that because we're talking about careers today and what it feels like sometimes to look back and to see some of the decisions that you've made. Thank you for the invitation. And I really love, talking to medics. I've done it for quite a bit. I think if you've ever gone to the Beyond the Stethoscope sessions with Dr. Amakovi, I've done a lot with the medics there. Today, I teach leadership in most of the large hospitals, and I also consult with the World Bank on customer experience for medics. So this is really a community that I love, and I love talking to. I will not go through my profile because obviously that's been read, but I just want us to start off because I'm very, very keen on the time and to make sure that I leave behind as much as I can in terms of nuggets on building a powerful career. And the key word here is power. Yeah. For many of us, especially African-based professionals, sometimes we get careers and they're just flat. I think I did a post the other day when I was announcing I'm going to speak today, and I just said, at some point in my life, all I did was just wake up, come into, work, look at the clock and think, when is 5 p.m. going to reach? And I just go home. So how do you build a career that you love? I mean, right now I've had almost 27 years of career and I am so passionate. The other day somebody told me, Coach, are you going to stop? And I'm like, it's probably when you guys come to my funeral that I'm going to stop what I do. I am very, very passionate about what I do. But let's talk about careers. So I'll start off with a story and I won't finish it because the story is on YouTube. You can just go and Google or search on YouTube, Engage KE17, Engage KE17. And you'll see my story. And the story really starts at a very, very different place from me because my mother obviously was abducted at the age of 14 and she had me you know before she was 16, and by the time she was 20 she had 4 kids, and then she left. And in the video you see why she resented me and my brothers and everyone, and so that affected my career in what way? What it did is that after some time, because I was in a polygamous family, I really, really struggled. I didn't have guidance. I didn't have anyone. And so I lost confidence. I lost identity. I was messaged, in many ways in that environment. If any of you have grown in a polygamous environment, if your mother is not there, then you definitely tend to hear so many things. Then at some point, because my father had so many boys, I'm giving you this because it really, really speaks into, my own career. Because my father had so many boys, he decided he's not going to take the girls' education seriously. And probably we should get married or we should prove why we want to even continue one more class. So the decision I had to make at the age of 13 was to work for my school fees. So I began, ladies and gentlemen, I began working at 13. Do I think my career started at that point? I didn't even know. I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was I am working in order to have money to go to school. And so I didn't play when people were playing and closing school. I actually went to work. I woke up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. My dad and I were on the road and we were in the office and working until evening. He was in welding. He was a welder. And both my parents did not finish primary school. So I'm first generation educated almost. So really very interesting beginning. If you look at that, and when you look at what I've just put on the slide right now, we are painted for that careers take steps. You come from the bottom, you go up, you go up, you go up. We are also told, be smart. You understand? And you'll get your career. And that's why this slide says, the fallacy of a great CV and brains, both of which I have had and I've seen many people have, even as I coach today. But why is it people with great brains still don't make it? Why is it people with a great CV? You Google and paste great CVs, and then you get the template, you put in everything you've done, and nothing. So it's because there is no sequence, really. There is no sequence of choices in your life that is going to give you the perfect career or the perfect life. So mine began with a lot of disadvantages, a lot. And starting work at 13, you can't imagine how I lost my childhood. And I was mourning and groaning and sad for a very, very long time. And I was just hoping the day I managed to get into uni. And University of Nairobi, don't know what it felt like when I was growing up to just think, oh my God, that's the university I want to go to. And the day came and I went to pick my results and I had worked really hard and I was picked and excited that I'm going to a university. But guess what? The same day I came back home, funny, I was pregnant. So I had a different result. Choices again. Back to choices. I had this nice laid out plan for my career, but here I was. So because of missing out on that, I just knew my life is over. And that was mistake number, I don't know, 1 or whatever when it comes to that. But guess what? I went to secretarial school. I didn't get to go to university. My younger brothers, in fact, went to university, completed while I was still on the kitchen table, nursing my second baby, because yes, I made another mistake and had another child. And everyone gave up on me. And they were like, this career is going nowhere, nada. She's done. I also felt I'm done. And all I could see was the steps had broken somewhere and nobody had told me. And this was how it was starting to look like. It's up, it's down, it's moving in different manners and whatever. Nobody told me. This is what the world sold me. Fantastic straight line. Come out of uni, get your job, become supervisor, become next manager. I don't know how you dream about yours, but that's how I saw mine. But then it was going back and forth, and so many things in between. No one had taught me. So today I want to be very real. I want to be very real with you and share with you what are the things that then trajected Sarah to come from where she was, making mistakes in her 20s, but by the age 35, my mid 30s, I was a global director. First woman in that team, second African in that team, sitting in a global role, overseeing almost 26 geographies across 5 continents. How did I get to that space? I want to inspire somebody today. It began with, first of all, me sitting back and asking myself, who am I? I had defined myself in all the problems that I'd grown up in. Here was a girl whose mother was abducted. Here was a girl who had become pregnant when she shouldn't have. She had had children out of wedlock. She was a laughing stock in her area. Those are the messages I had in my head. The minute I changed my messaging and understood who am I, then my career began. And so I want you to really just follow. This is a reality, because as much as I'm an educator, I don't like using too many of the theories, because when it comes to the careers, it's practical. Remember, this is one story. You have your own story and the many other stories. But this is how I built a powerful career, positioned myself, and really managed to grab and to get to where I am today. The first thing is to look at what do you have naturally and what do you have nurtured. I repeat, what do you have naturally and what do you have nurtured? So I know the university is nurturing something in you. And I've been to university and continue to study till today. And I am very, very aware that everything any lecturer, professor, whoever, any institution can put in me is something they are nurturing in me. They'll tell me, read this, do this, go here, do whatever. All right? And they'll give me the theories, the principles, and everything. You'll also have your technical aspect, obviously. And you need to thrive in that because you're being nurtured. And the better the nurturing, the better the output for you. Believe you me, I speak about that because there are so many people that I've hired who've come from university and still are struggling. in the career. They are not powerful. When they come in, they're just earning, the basic salary, and they're on space for the longest. So who have I seen, and I've worked in HR, who have I seen that really, really stands out? It's people who have something natural. It's unfair, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a fact that when you have some naturally inbuilt abilities and capabilities, it stands you out. Now, I'm a speaker and I'm a trainer. And I've been speaking. My parents tell me since the day I was born, I was making noise. My brothers say I would negotiate, persist, push back to my dad, and do things that people never imagined. These are natural things. Today, look at me. I'm a speaker. I earn a good dollar and I travel the world speaking. I want you to write a note down for yourself. And this is what I'm just encouraging you to do today. Pick the things that are practical. So this is very practical. Go list 5 things that you have naturally. They say even Usain Bolt, the guy ran and whatever. There's some things he nurtured and there's some things he had naturally. So what are the 5 things you have naturally that probably don't appear on your CV that could stand you out in your career? That's a question for you today. I know mine. I've used mine. I've leveraged mine. And I know that these things are so natural that whoever wants to compete has to have been given it or gifted it by God naturally. So the first question is, my game-changing move in my career needs to come from both nature and nurture. Don't just focus too much on nurture. There is a framework then, because remember, I was a late bloomer. I started very late. I was making so many mistakes. So how did I, just looking at my 30s and then within my 30s, get to a global career? The framework that I developed, and I studied this when I was doing my MBA, I looked at it and I said, there must be something more than qualifications, because I was sold the qualification piece. I was told, get as much qualifications as you can. But today I've seen people with more degrees than the thermometer who still struggle with their career. So what is it that goes beyond the qualification? The first one is skill. You might be highly qualified, but you lack the skill to even articulate the qualification. You lack the skill to apply. You lack the skills to speak to. You lack IT skills, basic ones. I've seen great speakers who don't have IT skills. So again, it's very, very important to look at what set of skills, write for yourself. And today we are going practical. Write 5 skills that you feel can help package your knowledge and your formal qualifications into something valuable for any employer or for your career going forward. The next thing is your experiences. And unfortunately, we tend to negate personal experiences and think only professional experiences speak. So when I've interviewed people, and today I interview even at the executive level, so even CEOs, and you hear somebody telling you, I have 5 years experience, or I have no experience. Really? Because you've come from university, you feel you have 0 experience? You must have something in your life that you've done over and over and over again. I remember speaking to a gentleman who did not have a degree. In fact, he's the only one who didn't have a degree, but he led a team with many graduates in his team in a bank. We know the bank, but I'm not going to mention it today because this person is holding the sales director role and did not get to that role with a degree, but through experience. In fact, he kept saying how his parents in Mombasa used to send him to school. And the guy would go to school and then come back from the school, which was inside, and he would go in there with water in taps. So he'd buy water in the main road, take it down, sell it, go to school, come back in the evening, collect his money, come back, buy more water, and then go to sell where he lives. Today he's a sales director of one of the banks. Experience. And when he gives you experience from the time he was in class 6 selling that water, can't you see sales experience there? But some of us want to do a sales degree and then count our sales experience from the day we leave university. No. I'm sure right now, again, just like you're going to do with your skills, go and write 5 experiences that you think are actually valuable for your career and for mentioning. And that started at that age, 7, 10, 12, 15, whatever. I see too many African graduates losing out in articulating and packaging themselves when it comes to experience. Experience is not tenure. It's not the number of years you've been on the earth. It's the number of times you've done something. I repeat, don't confuse experience with tenure. Experience, real versatile experience, is the number of times you've done something. And when you read books on mastery, it tells you the 10,000 hour rule. If you've done something 10,000 times, and that's why I got my kids to start speaking, presenting, doing whatever to me from the age of 11. Today, my 25-year-old is a manager in a company in Europe. How do you get to that space? It's through experience, and learn how to package that. So please do not be put down, do not be sidelined with these, big words like experience and everything, and confuse them with tenure. Somebody could have 20 years behind their belt since they graduated, and so they say, I've been a teacher for 20 years, but maybe they've been teaching twice a year. And maybe for you, the last 3 years, you've been teaching 40 hours a week. In 7 years or 3 years, who has more experience than the other? So packaging your experience is really, really powerful for your career. Very powerful, both on your CV and the way you articulate in an interview. And versatile experience. Then exposure. So there's experience, which is how many times you've done something and built your mastery, and whether you've put in your 10,000 hours, or there's exposure. So exposure is where you've been, geographies, industries, and people are like, oh, coach, what are you talking about geographies? We need money to travel. We are broke students or whatever. Come on now. I was a broke mom, leave alone even students. But I traveled, and I traveled with those kids. I took my mistakes along and I said, let me just travel. And I remember starting to travel by sleeping on people's couches. But I insisted I must have exposure, because a bird that lives in its nest thinks its nest is a kingdom until it moves forward. By the way, when I compete for awards, I compete globally. I don't compete in a small pond. There's no point being a big fish in your small pond. So become so big, even though you have qualifications and probably you work in Muranga or you go and work in Kisumu. Try and travel and visit Zanzibar. Go on the road to Arusha. Now we have great mobility in Africa. Take the bus to Kigali. Why am I saying this? Because let me tell you, for some of you who will do regional roles, for some of you who will compete or even meet people who are coming to become your boss very early because they've seen what you haven't seen. They have exposure. There's a job that I got because of my exposure to the slums. They were hiring in London. They wanted somebody to work in Africa. And out of everybody that came there, so many people had, at that time, even 20 plus, 30 plus years experience above me. But I had the right exposure the company required. I grew up in South B, very near Aslam, Mukurwajega. I knew what a slum looks like. People were only Googling it and coming to the interview in London. And it was strange how they called me 3 months later and said, you were the best, most natural candidate for this role because you understand where we are investing. You have the exposure, you are not Googling your answers. And I spent a lot of time, by there I know Dr. Iwamta, and glad to hear she's been one of your speakers. So I've spent a lot of time in the informal spaces, especially when I was pregnant and running away from home. I didn't know that exposure would one day give me a job and a lucrative position and opportunity. So don't look down at any of your experiences or exposures. They are powerful. They are very important. Some of you, the exposure could just come from who is raising you. Maybe you're a medic, but you've been raised by a teacher or somebody in construction or whatever, and that gives you some exposure. You keep hearing the lingo, the language they use. What are the opportunities in those industries? What are the problems they have that medics can solve? And careers are built on bringing solutions to the table. They're not built on studying and having a great CV. That's a job. That can get you a job. There's a difference between a job and a career. Okay, so it's very, very important that you build in your exposure. I encourage you, take your 2K or 3K, buy a bus ticket for the sake of it, and go somewhere. Every Christmas is not Oshago that we have to go to, not the village. You can also choose, let me take somewhere else and just open my mind, see what medics are doing down in Dodoma, what they're doing in Ghana, or what they're doing in Lagos, and it just starts opening up your mind and you start seeing bigger things for your career. The next one is your network. And I keep saying your network is your net worth, but not if you're not working your network. Some of you right now, this is a network that you're sitting in. But how many of you really, really, really know what Dennis Mugami can bring, or what Dr. Jedida can bring, or Dr. Lindsay, if you really had a one-to-one, not what you're seeing on a profile or whatever? Working your network and leveraging the gates that give you access to more. I remember I lived in the UK for almost 2 decades, and then when I came back, I found my brothers here and they were like, Sarah, here it's a bit hard. You can't crack the market. I was like, what do you mean by crack the market? They were like, you have to reinvent yourself here. You have to know people. You have to do whatever. They had been here probably 20 plus years ahead of me because I went to build a career elsewhere. They were shocked in 3 to 5 years, the things that I did and the networks that I had, because I was very strategic and I understood how powerful networks are. And so my gates were opening much faster. With a phone call, I could get, stuff done. My driver, Frank, always laughs until today. He's like, Madam, I hear your phone calls. Drivers hear everything. And this gets stuck, you call this person. This gets stuck, you call this person. But you cannot just be calling people if people can't call you. So who are you to your network, and who is the network to you? Some of you are inside WhatsApp groups and so many groups that are adding no value to you, but you keep sitting in there for years and years. Please left and formulate powerful networks that really add something and also give you an opportunity to add something to them. Then there is M. The framework actually is here, the one that is written in red. Okay, so there is the M. And that one I haven't listed here, but it's about mentorship. And it could either be mentorship or coaching. You do need guidance. I keep saying, even the greatest of giants needs to sit under the feet of other giants. You need to be humble. You need to learn from others. You need your hands held horizontally, vertically, name it. You do need. So ask yourself again, and remember, we are doing the list of 5. So what's my 5 skills, qualifications, experiences that I can list down? What's my exposure like? What is my network? Who are the 5 people that I can go to? I keep saying, if you walk around 5 gossipers, you'll be the 6th gossiper. If you walk around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th millionaire, by hook or by crook. So look at your phone. And who are you calling every day? Who are you talking to? Who is in your network? And then ask yourself also, who is my mentor or my coach? And who is growing me? Who is holding my hand? There's something else that is also very, very important. And this one I talk about every time, because remember, I did not have a normal career. I did not come from school, be top in my class, enter university, be top in my class, enter career, be top in my job, and then start. No, absolutely not. One of the things that I did better than even my counterparts that probably went to university before me, graduated before me, got the jobs before me, when I came in, I really, really, really self-reflected and said, what fulfills me? A strange question, isn't it? And you'll hear many career talks. But let me tell you one thing. What brings senior executives to my coaching table? What bothers them? What makes them build a fantastic career for 10 years and then fall off or transition is because of asking this question too late. What really fulfills me in both life and career? So they say there are different fulfillment needs. And I mean, you can go and Google, because we don't have the time for me to go into too deeply into this. But there are fulfillment needs. And if you don't take care, if you are not sitting in a space that fulfills you, or you don't understand what fulfills you, then definitely you will struggle. There are people who are fulfilled by growth. So no matter how much your career pays you, no matter what it gives you and whatever, if it's not growing you, you'll always feel plateaued and dead. So some of us need growth, okay? Then there's people who just need significance. You come out and you're like, me, I need to be the most special person in that team. I need to be doing significant things. I need to be the person that if I'm not in the job, people are calling. Uko happy, what's up? Where are you? So you are built for significant things, but not everybody is into that. There are people who just want to contribute. I remember once in a board, we wanted to promote a certain guy. He had done so well in the company, and we called him and we were like, what would you like us to do? Which job and which routing? And he was like, you know what? Actually, I'm happy where I am. I am really, really, like the factory worker who is just happy where they are. As long as I'm contributing, you can move me where I'm contributing. The minute I move and work in a team or under a supervisor who doesn't allow me to give my contribution, I feel dead. That was powerful. The other leaders didn't understand. This guy wasn't asking for more money, more this, more. He said, let my voice be heard and let me contribute to what I'm doing, and I am fine. He wasn't looking for managerial positions. He wasn't looking for significance. He just wanted to feel like he's contributing. Then there's another one who wants stability. They don't like rocking the boat too much. Some of you will go into your careers, find one place, you feel safe and understood and whatever, and you'll sit there until your pension days, which is fine. But let's not look down at different people's stabilities, fulfillment needs. These things are deep, very deep. And some people don't understand them until it's too late. The final one, which is where I sit, is variety. Oh my gosh. For me, things have to have variety. I think Dr. Lindsay knows me. You've seen my life even online and wherever. I'm very open. I love variety. That's why today I'm sitting in a different country and tomorrow I'll be in another one. And, every other week, this is my 120 something day in the air. I love variety. But I'm also cognizant that not everybody loves variety in their career. So I've switched, I've done business, I've done hospitality, I've been in HR, I call myself a slasher. So coach slash trainer slash director slash this slash that. I have different companies who do different things because I love variety. Even in my marriage, even in upbringing, even in whatever, I love variety. So ask yourself, and for those of you who love variety, you will struggle in stable environments. You will struggle. People will think there's something wrong with you. They'll even want to add your salary, add whatever, but you can't, you just can't. They can't pin down your wings because you're driven and fulfilled by variety. And why am I saying these things? It's important for you to message what fulfills you internally to yourself and to others. For me, every time I was like, okay, I gotta go. Okay, I'm moving on. I used to think there's something wrong with me. And people used to say there's something wrong with me until I landed on this knowledge that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just fulfilled by variety. I cannot look at an Excel sheet every single day, punch in the same data, talk to the same people and whatever for 5 years, 10 years. That's not me. So that really, really helps then with the conversations that you have to have in your life with different people. When you start with your career, please do not run very quickly and ask, how much are you paying? Rather, what value do I bring to the table? What currencies can I actually take from here and utilize? If I ask people how much they earned last April and they tell me maybe, let's say 50K. If you earned 50K, what did you use it for last April? Rarely do people remember. Paid bills, ate, drank, bought some clothes, and that's it. If I even ask you 6 years ago in December for your December salary, how much did you get and what did you use it for? Rarely do people remember, but we keep running for the money in careers. However, if you understand that growth is a currency, for me, where somebody took me maybe to a certification or a coaching or what, I remember those things because those are currencies that keep paying until today. Whatever I learned, whether I learned it 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, last week, That's a currency that keeps giving. It's almost like a seed. So please don't rush into your career conversations with how much are they paying. I had friends who are on there, how much are they paying? I came through my career, passed them, and some of them even hired them because they went for jobs that pay, not jobs that grow. Please. For somebody who is serious, not just about a job, but a career, please remember it's what you put in that you get out. And growth is a powerful currency. And if people know you don't care about it, that's it. They'll leave you in a space to plateau. But if people know how much you care about it, you'll go very far. The other thing is understanding your unfair advantage. And all of us have it. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 fingers are not the same height. This is the little finger, the ring finger, the middle finger, the pointing finger, the thumb. Hurt one of your fingers and then you realize how important and what advantage it brings over the other fingers. So each of these fingers, even the tiniest of them, you know, I use my tiny one when something gets stuck in my ear. It's the only one that can go in, the others cannot. What does that mean? It means there are some spaces and opportunities only you can actually leverage. So what is your unfair advantage? And God was not unfair in making us different. But some of us don't know how to embrace our difference and use it in our careers. You will all graduate from the same class, under the same professors or teachers, learning the same modules, and probably even get the same marks. Oh, we are all A-star students or whatever. And come out 5 years later, one moved 3 steps, another one moved 30 steps, another one stood still in time. Why? Somebody somewhere came out of that class and realized we might have all the same things, but I have an unfair advantage that I'm going to use to take 30 steps. While others are like, and why this is favorism? Why is so and so? We came from the same school, we got the same opportunity, but now they're earning a bigger salary than me 3 years later. What is your vantage point? Go and reflect on that. Find what it is. For me, I remember my head girl coming to one of my speeches, a KCB Biashara speech in Nakuru. And she said Sarah was the biggest noise maker, not in her class, in the school, that her class prefect would enter class and put Sarah's name first. You know, I haven't even come to class. Washani Andika. She's going to talk. There's no way she will sit for 2 hours study time. Sarah will talk. And it was true. I would talk. What I didn't know is that one day my head girl would pay some good money to come and listen to me talk. It's my vantage point, my unfair advantage. I remember leaving university and telling the rest, don't meet me at an interview. Let them remove me at the CV level. But if I come in, I've been given what God calls the gift of the gab. It's a gift. So what is your gift? Please don't look at other people's gifts, but what is yours? And find the power behind that unfair advantage. It is an advantage. It is unfair to the rest, but it's an advantage. My gifts, again, packaged me into a space where I could have an elevator speech and tell you what I bring to the table is SCCC. S stands for speed. I always do things with speed. I have energy. I have whatever. And that comes from my personality. And I'm very keen on that. I know you've done emotional intelligence. I hope you were taught how to go and do your psychometric testing, how to understand the people who have high energy, cool energy, and what to do with that and where it can take you. And if not, please get somebody who can help you really, really unpack that. For your career, it's powerful. And also being creative. For me, I've always been caring. I've always looked for clarity and everything, but those are my giftings. And no matter what happens, the show must go on. For different people, it's different things. You have to really understand what is it underneath you that gives you that unfair advantage. I'm going to talk about something that I talk with medics, and sometimes people don't like thinking about it or talking about it, but it's about how many pathways are really there for medics. I know you come out and you know definitely I want to go through my career and this is how it's going to look like, because all the medics before you who did the course you did went in the direction that you want to go. It's great, but for us outliers, it can be boring. At some point, probably in your career, you can say, is there something different that people like I, with the skills that I have, with the qualification that I have? Remember the skills, knowledge, experience, exposure, and the networks. With this skin, I would take the same pathway as my father, as my predecessors, as my friends? Or would I take a different one? Many medics have told me, and I coach many medics. The pressure from colleagues and family can give you so much internal guilt, doubt, and fear. So a doctor has to stay the same course, has to go the same way and whatever as the others. But we've seen others who've taken different pathways. They could be medical, still using their skills. So I meet medics in NGOs. I meet them as content developers somewhere. I meet them in research institutes. I meet them in technology companies. I've worked in a tech company where we were building solutions for the medical field. I mean, there's so many pathways that you could take. So don't think you're crazy or you lose respect or whatever if you want to change and move. I'm a business strategist who was asked to go and help the HR team understand business lingo and how to read a P&L. Some may deep, and I've coached some who are sitting in maybe medical director or organizational level or even World Bank projects, and they don't understand how to look at the P&L, the profit and loss account of probably a hospital or a clinic or a service. And some of you will go and create your own, the business of. So it's very, very important in your pathways as well to think, can I also do something, if I want to go probably into entrepreneurship, do something that can give me a pathway into that. No one ever talks beyond the career transitions, the traditional ones. But I want you to be that class that moves out of here and thinks, what is the next class? What is the next skill? What is the next thing? How many pathways are there with the kind of qualifications and skills and whole skin that I have? When you're assessing your transitions, your career moves, definitely look at your skin, look at the things that you value, look at your work preferences, and be very careful about SMEs versus SMOs. What are SMEs? SMEs, and you can write this down, are small and medium excuses. Oh, I can't do this because the last person who tried it. Oh, I can't do this because I have 2 children. Oh, I can't go for a job that makes me travel because I have. Listen, I don't know if I told you in the beginning, but I have 5 children and I've raised 7 while working and holding down a marriage. I was messaged that, you know what, you can either do one in a fantastic way and lose the other. And if you decide to do one, you're not working hard in the other one. So I believe that I wouldn't be able to make it in my career if I'm married and having kids. Is that I put these kids where? Where do I take them? So these are excuses. They're small and medium excuses. There are people who've done it and they don't have 10 heads, 16 hands, and 48 hours in their day. They have 24 hours just like us. So be inspired to take SMOs, small and medium opportunities. That is how I got to where I got, by the way. I was the person, and they kept saying, Sarah, you would take that which nobody else is taking. You would do that which nobody else is doing. So people are waiting for a massive opportunity. I would just take the small ones. Who can stay late and work with the director on this? Who can help look at this policy paper and whatever? Who can edit? Those two small things made me known. And the beauty is, okay, I was where I also had fantastic mentors and coaches. And they told me it's those small opportunities. The organization is looking for somebody to do A, B, C, D. I have no clue, but I'm like, you know what? I will learn as I go. At least let me put up my hand. Have a yes year. Ladies and gentlemen, have a yes year. 1 year that you say, this year, January to December, I'm saying yes. No excuses. The rain, I'm late for the meeting because of the rain, the traffic, that's why I showed up. Those non-living things that you're making as excuses will always be there. For me, by the way, people do not show up in my meetings late. Why? Because of the rain. Where I am, if I tell you about the traffic, only God knows. But I'm moving and I'm getting to places on time. And I'm back here twice in 2 months because of that. There are some things that will build your career, basics. So stop with the SMEs and build up your SMOs, and you will be able to find yourself in big spaces. Now, there's something called transversal skills that I want to talk about this morning that are very powerful in positioning yourself and building yourself a good career. And we are not talked, even in the modules in class and whatever, these things are rarely talked about. But your ability to work in a team. The daughter of mine that I told you is now a manager at her age in a good company, by the way. This teamwork, she used to hate it. She used to come home and tell me, Mom, you didn't tell me in university we have to do things in teams. Why? Now she's an introvert. And she's thinking, can I just do the work? And then I tell them, let's present. Or can I just deal with so and so? And I don't like these other three. Those were the issues she had. And I told her, if you don't nail these issues of teamwork, then you will not be able to work and bring value to any team in an organization. And organizations work with teams. And you work also with people. You have customers, you have clients, you have whatever. And managing people doesn't mean having a team that you manage, but it also means managing even your boss, managing upwards, managing horizontally. These are things I learned very quickly. And that's why I could lead globally across multiple diverse institutes. I would go to India, we sit down on the floor and we eat. If that's how they eat, that's fine. I would go to Somalia, they greet my hand or they don't, that's fine. I would go to, South Africa and they are hugging, everybody's hugging in the office and everything. You understand? I would go to London and the young people around the table push back on their bosses, push back like serious debates. And for me, again, that's okay. I'd go to Nigeria and they'd call me auntie. I know I'm not auntie, but it's okay. So you see, just being able to work effectively with people will get your career very far. If you went there and you're trying to judge people and roll your eyes and look, I don't know, uncomfortable and whatever, you struggle. Those are transversal skills. The other transversal skill that we all need to understand is the one around building a good argument. Hi, I wish somebody told me that one. Really argue your case, especially when you want to be noticed or when you're talking about performance or and doing it respectfully. I'm not talking a bad argument. I'm actually talking debating with facts. That has been powerful in my career. Being able to research well, to dig deep into what I'm doing. And simple things like being responsive, networking internally, building internal relations. Some of you, by the way, and I know this because I've worked with hospitals and medics and whatever, you come in and this person works in their line and they think like their line is a little kingdom that doesn't need the work of any other person. If you are not networking internally, people won't like you. Politics will begin. Your career will be stranded somewhere. So it's important to network internally. Have lunches with different people that you naturally not have. You guys want to come out of the same class, go and meet in an institute and start hanging out, just the two of you or three of you, eating lunch, doing things together, weekends and what, and you don't network with other people. It hampers your career, kabisa. I remember when I went to the UK, I met the Kenyan community. They were like, oh, this is the Kenyan association, this is the community, this is the whatever, and this is where they generally live, and this is the church they generally go to. And I smiled and say, I will network with my people, but I will network broader. And so I took my children to different schools. I went to different churches. I interacted with different people and whatever, and lived in multi-diverse spaces. I still met my Kenyan friends, but I equally networked with people from across the world. And that helped me and positioned me. So I hope I'm speaking to somebody today. Transversal skills are those skills that cut across in your life, across. So this list that you're seeing here, and I'll share these slides, are very, very powerful things that just go and look at them and say, maybe I can pick 4 or 6 of these things. And then I'll finish off with the power of integrity. Build your profile, build your career, build your CV, build your brand around integrity. Let people know you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and you have high moral standards. The minute you start getting dirty, getting your fingers dirty in any way, is a dark hole that you rarely be able to come out for. And there are people who will say, she's so smart or he's so smart, but the minute you are sitting at a board or at an interview panel and saying, but next to your name, there's a problem. I work right now with global institutions. People call me from whether it's Zambia, Myanmar, Jamaica, and they're like, Coach, we have already put the money, the commitment fee, and we are waiting for you to come in March 2025 or November 2024. How would somebody who's never met me, they've been referred, and I've told them I don't move without a commitment fee. They put the money before I even leave my country. How do they believe I will appear? There's something you must have built in your brand, in your personal brand, for people to know you don't play with small things like integrity. You don't play with people's money. You don't play with your promises. You don't play. Behavior shows up. I'm a behavioral modification coach. And I say behavior shows up. You can pretend for 5 months, 6 months, but one day we'll be living to tell the story. So you can be the most highly qualified person, but if you're arrogant, and that's what people are talking about, then that's it. So really, really build on some of the behavioral issues. All of us need to have what I call a good blend of your professional and your personal aspirations. There is no one pathway that moves and leaves the other behind. I meet many people who are like, first I want to do my career, then have kids. Or first me, I want to sort out my family, then have my career. Really? I wish those fairy tale stories in the books worked like that. We have this one life. So for me, with my mistakes, remember I told you I had child number 1, then I had child number 2, while I was still sitting at a kitchen table, and people had already built their careers, finished even 2 degrees. Mini makeup early. So I decided this thing is gonna be done either with these children or it will never happen. And I got onto the wagon. I was actually working while still having the babies while studying. So in the evening, I'm studying. In the morning, I'm working. Sometimes I'm doing even 2 jobs and whatever. I've done it all. And I realized it can be done. And I'm telling the story to inspire somebody sitting here today and thinking, oh, I was pushing this fast before this, and then I will bring this. And hey. It's not about one swallowing the other. It's about the blend. The successful people have a good blend of their aspirations, both personal and professional. So please don't have a dark side and a sad side and a side that is muted because another side is overpowering it. Try and have good, relatable qualities that cut across. And that's what I did. And I remember at some point, I even posted again on one of my social media handles. I was in the same university, yes, doing different courses, but in the same university with my own daughter. As in, she grew and caught up with me, and I was like, it is okay. We just, okay? So please, that is something that I also want to touch on because I see so many people kill their ability to probably have a family, have some happiness or whatever, thinking and later blaming their job. And it doesn't work like that. It's just a mindset thing. Practically, it can be done and you can do them together. So you see here, they were little babies and I was in university and I was being supported. And here they've grown. Somebody sitting here is an engineering student. Another one here is a manager. Another one is now in high school. So we can still continue, all right? The other thing I want to talk about your career is be creative and spice it up. Some of us are so boring. We are doing only what the teacher taught us. I remember asking somebody to do an executive summary and research something for me. And she said, okay, I actually have my notes. She was from Nairobi University. And she was going back to look at whether she had been taught A, B, and C. I could not believe it. Employment Career trajectories are about taking what you've learned into application. Now, write this down. Knowledge acquisition is not equal to knowledge application. I repeat, KA is not equal to KA. Knowledge acquisition is not equal to knowledge application. The game changer is in the application. One of my adopted daughters was struggling with understanding chemistry. Now, I'm not brilliant in chemistry or whatever, but I was working with her one day and I was asking her, so what really, really bothers you with the chemistry and everything? She was like, I don't know what mixes with what to make what. But I love just seeing things change. You understand? When I mix this liquid with that liquid, for instance, or this powder with that or whatever. So I told her, because I love baking, I said, let's bake this afternoon. And let's see how the ingredients shift and change. She was like, really? When I think of chemistry, I think about liquids and detergents, or I don't know, bleaches and toxic versus non-toxic. I was like, if it's about mixing something that affects something to create something, let's do it in baking. Let's see how baking powder affects probably the dough. And let's see when you put in the egg versus orange. Can you mix an orange with or a lemon? Yeah, the juice with milk. Would that cuddle the cake? You know, I just used what I know. So this is me, and that's why I coach across multiple industries. Being smart is being smart. It's being able to look at what I know and how can it be applicable in order to understand. There's so many people who teach knowledge transfer in a poor way. You have to know how to make it relatable. I said in my last slide, relatable. So for my young girl, she went and brought in top marks from her class because I told her it's a life science. Look at it in your life and then be creative and spice up the thinking of what you've learned and then apply it differently. And that's how I've seen the world, as I said, compete at global level. And Kenyans, by the way, we are that smart. We are that good. So please, please, please look at how is it you can really spice up and be creative, and even personally in your personal life and everything. I know there are people who only wear black, gray, and white. Me, I just move around that. Yeah, things in my life are just black, gray, and white. No, those are shades, by the way. They're not even colors. They are shades. And you're so afraid of moving any step to anywhere else. This will really, really affect your career. So make sure you are the sort of person that can actually add some value to it. There's something we all have to fight in our careers called the imposter syndrome. And I've fought it. People who told me you are the child of two illiterate parents, look at you, you didn't start university until, I don't know, late into your 20s. How did you become a global director? Somebody in one of my first meetings told me, looking at your profile, you are in nappies. That's what the guy said. You are literally in nappies when I was starting my first job in a big airline. What makes you my boss? How can I report to you? He was nearing his 50s. I was in my mid 30s. I was managing a 300 team across the globe. And this is somebody saying that. And honestly, those types of statements can make you doubt yourself. I'm sure I'm speaking to some people who are still young here in their careers. And by the time you start stepping up, stepping in, showing, your innovation, showing your whole skin, you have these skills, you have exposure, you have this, you have that. People will question what makes you captain of this ship. Who even brought you here? Now, I want us to pay attention to the photo that I've aligned with this message on the imposter syndrome. Here I am speaking at the Grange in London, a hotel I worked in as a waitress, and in my spare time cleaned the kitchens. And there was a chef who used to call me words I cannot even repeat here. Racist words. And I found myself a decade later. I was the keynote speaker, invited. They paid for me, plus my family, flew us to London. I had an executive suite. I was the keynote speaker, and you can see the announcement at the top of the whatever. You can't see everything, but executive coach, human development expert, OD consultant, global award winner. And I took this stage and slept that night, telling my family and reminding them the story of my pain working as a waitress in this hotel, that I'm now the speaker who people have paid hundreds of pounds. You can see all this audience here. I took the stage and tears just went down. I'm crying. Because before coming on stage and listening to my profile being read, I thought, am I an imposter? Is this real? Is this for, can I even go? I saw the chef, by the way. And my kids, yes, were a bit petty with him, but I forgive and move on. But I was asking myself, is it really me? You know, those questions like, you get to a space in your career where you will doubt yourself, people will doubt you. And I remember going back to my journal. And that's why when the imposter syndrome comes to you, I want to tell you to do 3 things. 1, capture and journal your undisputed accomplishments. Let nobody call you a kid, a smart kid, or I don't know, a young person who's, no. When somebody asked me what makes me captain of the ship, I was able to lay out an intimidating experience profile with undisputed accomplishments, which were facts and factual and verifiable. And that gave me the confidence. In a humble way, it gave me the confidence that, you know what, I'm here on merit. I'm not a flower girl. I'm not a diversity tick. Yes, I'm second African. Yes, I'm first woman, blah, blah, blah. But yes, there'll be fasts. And I've coached many fasts. People have gone on to do Hall of Fame type of awards. So let us really, really believe in ourselves and be those game changers. Do the work, do the right thing. The second thing is find your niche. As I've said, you all graduate having done the same thing. But if you're smart enough and you find an area, a niche is a specific specialty that only you or a few of you become the 1% of the 1%. Because only cream rises to the top. So how do you find your niche and become exceptional in that niche? And to do that is the third thing. Be relentless. When I started putting in my 10,000 hours, oh, my friends, remember, I was that chick, they said she had babies, she left, she didn't get to university, we finished university before her, everything was said about me. But I was relentless in my pursuit for success. I put in the work. I built my substance. I read when I have to read. Until today, I still read. I prepare like I've never prepared for the same session before. I understood my unfair advantage. I spoke to who I need to speak to. There's a whole other session where I say, it's sometimes the people that you hate or don't like that you need to have coffee with or lunch with, because they might open a gate in your career. So stop getting into your career and getting into this mumbo jumbo of people like, we don't like so-and-so, we like so-and-so, and this and that. Don't get caught up in that. Some of those people you don't like are the people who are going to open the gates for you. Be relentless and understand what you need in order to get to the next level. Don't call yourself an imposter and don't get stuck there. I'll finish off by giving you the key elements of making a good move. Have a personal strategy. Focus on what you want to do, not who you want to be or what you want to be. Many times we are told about being. I talk to young people and they're like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer. No. What do those 3 do? Probably they do a lot of work with people. They do advocacy. They do learn what you want to do. Focus on the do, because the be. If it doesn't happen, you think you failed. I wanted to transform lives. I am still doing so today. Whether as a business strategist, whether as a CEO, whether as a mother, whether as a coach, whether as a trainer, I knew what I want to do. So the job titles didn't matter as long as I was doing what I want to do and fulfills me. Second, people, you need to understand and make your requests and be persistent. But their careers and keys are not handed to people who are not persistent. In one way or the other, be so persistent. I said I'm so persistent, I think God knows my name. Yani, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, hey, Father, it's me here again. Here I am. The sky is the lower limit for me. I want to go to another level. Am I crazy or not? And I keep telling my children, you have to have a certain level of crazy in terms of your passion and want for you to stand just above the rest in your career. Normal doesn't really get there. Work like crazy, network like crazy, be exceptional like crazy, have a truth born and a straight line like crazy. And that's how you really, really traject. Understand your hedgehog, and please go and Google hedgehog concept. Some of you probably look at it from the Ikigai. There are many tools that talk about similar things. It's about your passion, your talent, and your profit. Profit is important for me to discuss now. And I know many people, when they're talking about career, they talk about the nice things. They don't talk about profit. Remember, I'm a business strategist. I studied business. As a coach, my job is to make people get multiple streams of income. And I've seen so many people who are smart, they are passionate and poor. Passionately poor. Start looking at those pathways. Start asking people that are doing what you wanted to do and ask them, how much do you earn? I wanted to be a teacher. Let me tell you, one of the things I really wanted to settle for is being teacher. Remember, I'm a teacher until today. I'm a trainer. I'm a coach. This is teaching, knowledge transfer. My eldest stepsister is a teacher. And I remember one day I got some problems in school and I passed through her place and I asked her, oh, I really want to come to school with you and then see, how your life as a teacher is. When I came back home and I saw that she had to cook mandazis in the evening for the students to come and eat, in the morning as well. I also saw she had to sell charcoal to just, join to her salary for us to eat and survive. I asked her, so how much do teachers earn? And she tells me I was young, but she wondered that question. I said, how much do teachers earn? Why do you have to sell charcoal and also do some mandazis and whatever and bring all these students and their parents? And you are the deputy principal of this school. And she told me how much they earn and how much probably loans you get from TNC and then how much they are taken and so many things. And I just did my numbers, pole pole. And people said, Sarah, not everything in your career has to be about profit. Not everything has to be about the money. Okay. Ni sawa sawa. You see, you choose your path. Me, I'm very, very audacious when it comes to speaking the truth. Many of us in our careers, at the end of the day, you have an aspiration. Even if it's to ride a bicycle or to buy a small piece of land or to do whatever, even your children want to look at you and aspire. Mine do. And so do the math and do it early. So I did the math. I used the hedgehog concept and I decided if I'm going to be a teacher, not a school teacher, but that was my choice. I'm not putting down that. I said, based on the aspirations I had and the number of children, she has 2 kids. Me, I have many. I'm raising 7. And the things I wanted to do in the world, my math did not math. And so I moved on. And I looked at many others. And I've continued mathing. And that's why I am where I am in life. And with the revenues that I earn, because I ask about the numbers. So please do. Many people don't talk about that. Map out what 4 things could you do in life. Don't come out with just one pathway. Map out your transversal skills. Answer yourself. Always, not your naysayers. Keep answering yourself. When I was asking, should I work and still have these children and grow my family and be married and whatever, I answered myself, not naysayers. When I said, should I move from business to, I don't know, HR and then from HR into coaching and whatever, I answered myself, not naysayers. When I was looking at, I want a profitable future, I want this amount of money, I want whatever, should I travel? I answered myself, not naysayers. So answer yourself. Get guidance. There's 10 ways you can get to Mombasa. One of them, you can decide to take the train. It will take you 5 hours. Or you can take the bus. It will take you 6 or 7 hours. Or you can take a car. It will take you probably, I don't know, another 8 hours or 10 hours. You can take a bicycle. It can take you a week, but you will reach. You can even walk to Mombasa. It can take you 2 weeks, torn shoes and everything, sweating like nobody's business. If it was a meeting within a day, you've missed it, but you've gotten there. Or you can take a flight. Might cost you 12K, be a bit more expensive and whatever, but get you there in 45 minutes. That's what a coach or a mentor does. They can get you very fast. And that's how, from the age of 29, making mistakes and losing everything, and the age of 39 in my life, there were two completely different horizons. Financially, mentally, emotionally, success-wise, whatever, I had a coach and a mentor. Don't joke with that space. In fact, I invested in it. My mother had to go and pray for me and say, people are buying land. Sarah is paying a coach. But I knew where I was going, and I got there faster than my age mates and my counterparts. Rework your CV regularly, especially your experiences. And please, if you want quantum leaps, get yourself a good coach to get you there. If you want career steps, it is okay. Keep taking the career steps. Also have horizontal partners and accountability partners, people who check in on you, and good friends, and really a good network. So I'll leave you with a question. I tried today to use this session not to talk about the kawaida, but just to bring something extra special into how you think about your career. The rest you can figure out. But ask yourself, what will be that one game-changing move you make this coming year to move you to the next level of your career? Not a business as usual small step, a big move, a game-changing move. You can reach me on these contacts, or you can follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm open for questions. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Sarah. I actually want to invite questions, comments. You can drop them on the chat box. But before we go on, please write on the chat box one statement that you heard Coach Sarah say today and you felt that you deeply resonated with it. So I'll give everybody like 2 minutes to just type down on the chat box one statement, just one. Don't write for us 5, just one. One statement that you felt really deeply resonated with you as she was making her presentation. And then I will read them out as we go along. Thank you for those comments. Let's keep typing. Let's keep typing. One statement, just one statement. And then I will read them out as we go along. In the meantime, feel free to take note of that, of the contacts there. There's a phone number that is posted there for you. There's also an email, info@richmailinternational.com. You can also follow her on Facebook, Sarah Richson, LinkedIn, Sarah Richson as well. All right, let me see the comments that are coming through. So I'm just going to read statements that, all right, so somebody says, passionately poor. Oh, wow, that was a banger. Passionately poor. Somebody else says, behavior shows up. Another person says, the niche. Become relentless. Have a yes year. Absolutely, especially for people who are always second guessing themselves. I mean, that was really mind blowing. Somebody else says, your network is your net worth. Another person says, know what makes you happy and go for it. Another person says, be relentless. To make quantum leaps, get a coach. If you want to go to Mombasa, buy a flight, more money, 45 minutes, that is a quantum leap. Do get yourself a coach. Another person says, map your for, I don't get it. Maybe I will check it later. Somebody says, know your worth. Another one says, the non-living excuses will always be there. Have a slight crazy on what you do. Absolutely. I think for me, I like the way she said that there is always going to be an excuse. Everybody is a mother. So you cannot tell us that you are late because you are mothering or because there was traffic jam. There's always traffic in the world. I mean, if you need to be there at a certain time, just be there at that exact time. You know, stay clear of the excuses and be there. Another statement is the definition of experience. I love that. Yes. Experience is not the number of years that you have been doing something. Experience is the number of times. And we need to get the difference between experience and tenure. I love that. So that means you can have graduated from school And since the graduation, you graduated 8 years ago. But that does not mean that you have 8 years of experience. I loved that. That was amazing, Coach Sarah. Somebody else says, learn to fight imposter syndrome. Another one says, use your unfair advantage. Excellent. Somebody else says, find joy in what you do. Use your unfair advantage. Knowledge acquisition doesn't equal knowledge application. Wow, that was amazing. That was also another power punch. Focus on what you want to do, not what you want to be. I love that. Getting a coach will guide you. SMEs versus SMOs. Get a coach, and that one is like capitalized exclamation marks, like it is really get a coach. Then somebody else says, know the difference between SMEs and SMOs. Thank you so much for your comments. So now I will now invite any questions. If you have questions that you'd want to put on the chat box, I'll be reading them out to Coach Sarah, and she will be able to answer before we wrap it up. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them on the chat box. Coach Sarah, as somebody is going to type, maybe I'd want to ask, you talked about those who want a job versus those who want a career. Maybe especially now that most of us are actually pursuing our Masters of Medicine clinical program, how definitely would we be able to not just follow the steps that our seniors have followed and be able to actually create our niche? We will be graduating in a few years, others in 4 years, in 3 years, others even next year, with a Masters of Medicine degree in obstetrics and gynecology, and also for the other attendees in maybe other clinical lines. Then how else can we be able to differentiate from just the usual job? Like, you came from undergraduate, went to postgraduate, now you're a consultant, then now you're retired, then now you're pension, then now you've transitioned. So how can we just be able to get that niche from making it not only a job but also a career? Over to you, Coach Sarah. Coach Sarah, you're muted. Coach Sarah.
Thank you so much for that. And I'll refer to someone who's allowed me to refer to her several times, because as much as she's watched my pathway, I've watched her pathway. It's a doctor. Probably I'll add to the slides when I'm sending just her name so you guys can follow her. But Dr. Karen Joash is someone I saw when she used to work at Marks and Spencer's while studying medicine. She's a gynecologist now. Actually, and recently has launched a very big brand called Pure. Yeah, and it's for women. And watching Karen from the student days, me, I was still having babies in the house. We lived in the same house, literally, for different reasons. And she used to go to med school and then come back. She used to tutor. So she would do tuition for kids. She's Ghanaian. She would tutor in English and whatever to make streams of income. And then in the evening, she'd work at Marks and Spencer's. And in the morning, she'd go to med school. Then she moved on and really started growing her own career. And one of the things that she really wanted in her career was to be known to have made a difference to Black women. There was a lot. And she told me, medics have to have an aspiration to solve a problem. That's what leads to a career. But to get a job and do what comes to your table, today it is these 4 people you sort. Tomorrow it is these 10 people you sort. The next day, very easy, that can be 10 years. Very easy, by the way. But if, as you're looking at your 10 patients and your 15 or 30 patients, there is a problem that you have decided by the end of your life or whatever, you must leave a legacy. And this is the word that I want us to take away, legacy. So let's build legacy careers, not career I'm working in hospital A, and until the day I finish and get a better job. In fact, that's literally what we say, get a better job, then leave it. Dr. Lindsay, you know my program on Pink Potential. I mean, my aspiration was I must transform as many women's careers as possible in the world. That's my legacy. So Karen's legacy was exactly that. She must resolve certain problems that the Black woman has, whether going through pregnancy and giving birth. And today, Pure, her brand and her shops in London and wherever are doing that exactly. So Not only did she come through as a doctor and her sister, they are twins. Her sister Katina is a pediatrician and her she came in through gynecology. But she is been known to set off clinics. She would take her leave, annual leave every year and travel to different countries, talking to Black women about how different it is and the different issues and challenges that they have specifically. They are reading what probably the white, Caucasian, and other diversities deal with in pregnancy, but they're not addressing the Black woman, especially the African. And she decided that is her life's work. And on the side, that was what she was building. That built a career. Become a thought leader in something. Don't give us the kawaida. Do your consultations every day and everything, but in your, that's what I call, it's infectious. That passion is infectious. So that is what probably having a good mentor, looking at other people who've gone to turn around the world and whatever, leaving legacies behind. You leave a world behind that knows your name. Be a Wangari Maathai in your area. So let's go beyond the writing prescriptions and giving advisory and whatever. And if each and every one of us just found that thing where you want to game change, that is where careers are built. Otherwise, for me, I left employment, what, 8, 9 years ago? My name would have died. My work would have died. But what I was doing, even in employment, even as every day I was signing this and signing contracts and doing this and interviewing people, I still was the woman's potential, the woman's potential. Since my corporate days until today, my bread and butter is around that. And until the final days. And when I leave, I've told my children, that is the legacy I'm leaving behind. You will meet women on the street who will tell you, Coach Sarah touched my life in this way or the other. So who do you want to touch? And what do you want to change in the world? That's how you build your career. It has to be bigger than what you can imagine. If it's not scary, it's not big enough. And as I said, the sky is the lower limit. I don't know who's been telling us the sky is the limit. It's just the lower limit. So please think a bit bigger when you think about career, not just the job. So when you're doing, I don't know, for me, when I did my master's, I did it on emotional intelligence. I teach that subject until today. I'm in this country that I am in today, and I am back here twice in 2 months to teach emotional intelligence because the way I teach it is definitely, again, back to my legacy of transforming lives. And I did that as a whole master's project, interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people on how it has an impact on careers. So please choose something not for the sake of passing the subject, but something that is so transformative, it can become your bread and butter and your legacy, and you can outlive it. That is where careers are built. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Sarah. I think if I heard you correctly, is the job will pay your bills, but your career will be able to give you a legacy. Thank you very much. More comments coming in. Be a thought leader. If it's not scary, it's not big enough. I'm glad I'm terrified. I love that for you, the one who wrote that. Thank you very much. All right, so allow me to give a few mentions to people who have joined us from several parts, actually, of the world now. We've become international. Yet we are right here in Nairobi, Kenya, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, University of Nairobi. I want to give a shout out to Evans from United Kingdom, Lucas from South Africa, Pretoria. Thank you, Lucy from Gauteng, South Africa. Thank you from Kingdom of Eswatini, Asanteni Sana. That is Kiswahili to say thank you very much for making us feel global, yet we are at the University of Nairobi. Thank you very much. Also, I have to give a shout out and mention to my biggest cheerleader, the president of the Kenya Medical Association, Dr. Simon Kigondu. He has been attending this early morning meetings, I think, every single month, and I am really honored to have you with us, President Dr. Simon Kigondu. I also see a few executive members from the Kenya Medical Association, Human Rights Committee convener. I can see you. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you. I can see a few more. Actually, I can see one or two mentees of mine as well. Thank you very much for supporting and coming in this early morning. I really do appreciate. Asanteni sana. South Africa, you're in my heart always. Thank you so much for always waking up 1 hour before time just to make it. This is amazing. South African time is always 1 hour behind us. And so I appreciate that you were awake by 6 a.m. your time to be able to join us. Thank you very much. All the way from the UK, you woke up at 5 a.m. Asante sana. Coach Sarah Richson would like to conclude, but before we close the meeting, would you have any remarks, final remarks that you'd want to give? And then I will give final announcements and we can bring the meeting to a close. Coach Sarah?
Thank you so much. And I've just been reading the chats. I am so glad I've left some nuggets that have touched you and probably will transform your careers. I am really, really humbled to have been, called to do this session. Good luck, Dr. Lindsay, on your next, role. Well done, what you've done with the Wellness Forum. And thank you to every single person listening to me. Please just believe it can be done. If it's done by a human, you can do it. Go for it. And I wish you all the best. Stay in touch, follow me, and let's keep talking. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Sarah Ritson. It has been an honor. I have to tell the audience that it took me 6 months to actually get her to this point today. I started talking with her in April for us to have her in October. And I was determined to really have her on this platform before I also log off. So I now want to tell everybody that it has been a joy, honor, and very, very humbling to have brought to you the Wellness Forums from April 2022, and today marks the last day that you shall be hearing my voice. From November henceforth, you shall be having new champions doing this. We will be having new moderators. A new team is coming in, and we have done the behind the work, ensuring that there's a seamless, smooth transition with my other colleagues. In November, we will be having Mr. Klaus from the UK as well. So that is a poster. I'd love to see all of you on the 1st of November, same time, 7 a.m. East African time. If you're coming from the UK, then that would be 5 a.m. Coming from South African Standard Time is 6 a.m. Central African Time, 6 a.m. If you are from West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, will be 4 a.m. If you will be able to wake up that early and join us, you are welcome to do so. But as for me, it has been a pleasure, joy, and honor to steer these programs under the patronage of Dr. Dana Ondieki. It is a goodbye from me, Dr. Wanjiko Ida Lindsay, and it has been a joy to have you for 2 consecutive years. My appreciation goes to all the participants that have always been joining in without fail every single Friday of the first Friday of every month. We are happy to have you again in November, 1st of November at 7 a.m. From me, it is a goodbye and see you when you see me. Do have a lovely Friday and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.